Hello! Today is a special day, you know why? Well, because today I'm going to teach you how to develop a protagonist backstory. While this can be used for just about any genre, I am mainly focused here for writing for crime fiction. But, in case you ever want to write crime fiction in the future, you can come back to this video and watch it again. That'd be really cool, wouldn't it? But anyway, since everybody's time is valuable, let's get right down to business. Of course we shall. Number 1, give them a wound, not just a history. Just like a villain, your hero needs to have a wound or emotional scar. It digs right into them, but they try to keep it hidden from the world. This could be a failed case, the death of a loved one that caused their quest for justice, a betrayal by a partner, addiction or burnout, or they could have suffered from childhood neglect or violence, and they never want to see a child endure that ever again. There could have been also a wrongful accusation. Maybe they were wrongfully accused and they want to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else ever again. The important thing here is not so much what happened, but how it changed them. An example here could be a detective whose mother disappeared years ago when he or she was 10, is now obsessed with missing persons cases because they all feel personal. Number 2, connect the backstory with the main plot. You don't want the backstory to be random trivia. It should influence the present-day investigation. Here are some questions to ask. Why is this case difficult for them? What personal fears does the case awaken? What part of their past mirrors the crime? In this example, you could have a former gang member who investigates murders committed by the organization he escaped from years ago. This gang member probably would not have been involved in any serious crimes before he escaped, or maybe he escaped before he did any crimes at all, or maybe he just was never caught. Have the backstory. Number 3, have the backstory create strengths and flaws. Whatever trauma they suffered in their past could influence what they are good at and why they suffer. Some ideas for this are a former con artist. He is amazing at reading lies, but can't ever trust anyone because he knows better than anybody. There are liars in the world. An ex-soldier, calm under pressure, but emotionally distant. And also, child of criminals. This person is street smart, but they are morally conflicted. This will give you a layered and not perfect heroes, like a Mary Sue character. I did a Mary Sue video some time ago. The link for that video will be in the description. Number 4, you want to avoid info dumping. If you don't know what that means, this is where you dump everything out onto the reader's lap right away, as opposed to having the information drip out as the story calls for it. You want it to hint at it, reveal stuff slowly, let your readers ask questions as to why the characters like that. This keeps them turning pages and keeps them reading until 3 a.m. To do an example here, have a detective refuse to enter hospitals. It's later revealed that their spouse died in one. This gives intrigue without slowing the pacing. I also did a video on info dumping a while ago. That link is also in the description. Number 5, give them regret. This is powerful in a crime fiction story because the genre naturally deals with consequences. The following are some good regrets your protagonist could have. They arrested the wrong person, and that person got killed in jail, and now they're racked with guilt because of it. They failed to save someone. They ignored warning signs and a crime committed that was worse than if they had stopped it. They covered up corruption, and they chose career over family, and now their children hate their guts and won't talk to them. This will give you some emotional stakes for your hero, and not just solving the crime. Number 6, create a moral line they won't cross. A person's past can inform their personal code. Some ideas for this are to ask, what would they absolutely refuse to do? And why is that? And what event created that personal boundary? This was done in the first Die Hard movie with the character Al Powell. While he was not the protagonist, he stayed working at a desk for so many years because he mistakenly killed a kid who he thought had a real gun. For your own story, maybe you could have a detective who was abused as a child and refuses to use intimidation tactics in interrogation. And so, in your story, test that moral line. Number 7, build relationships from the past. The backstory will become more believable if it includes people from the past that still influence the character. This could include estranged family, former partners, perhaps one who betrayed him. There could be old informants that might be part of the crime, as well as criminal acquaintances, mentors, and ex-lovers. All of these people might be resurfacing because maybe they were involved in the crime either as victims, the perpetrators, or witnesses. Anyway, your story will thrive a little more if you have some complicated relationships from the past that resurface during the investigation. Number 8, let the setting shape them. In many ways, we are all products of our environment, so where your hero grew up does matter and will likely affect them in the present day of your story. Some places where they could have grown up are a rough and tumble inner city neighborhood, rural isolation, a small fishing town, and a wealthy political family, where they might have been raised by that, or they might have been raised in foster care systems. Each of these, regardless of how they were raised and what their past was, they will see crime differently, and this will influence their speech, which includes their use of profanity, and perhaps whether they use long-winded words. It'll influence their worldview, their trust level, and their attitude towards authority. Water time, yeah. Number 9, make their fear personal. To make your protagonist layered and not deep and not as flat as a board, don't have them only chasing criminals, have them avoiding something internally. This could be something like fear of becoming corrupt if they are surrounded by a whole bunch of cops who are. Maybe their fear of abandonment. Maybe it took too long for a backup to arrive when they were in a life-threatening situation. Maybe they might fear that they might end up enjoying violence. Maybe they fear they are incapable of saving someone, and that ties to the wound because they weren't able to save somebody in the past. Any internal conflict you can think of will help give emotional momentum to your story. Number 10, have it affect present-day decisions. It should not just be interesting information, it should affect the character's day-to-day life. It must change their behavior. You can ask the following. Why do they make bad decisions? Why do they hesitate? Why do they obsess? And why do they take unnecessary risks? And as a bonus exercise, number 11, try using these prompts when you're doing up the backstory for your protagonist, or any other character for that matter. What was the worst day of their life was? Insert that. The thing they never talk about is they secretly blame themselves for. They never trust anyone who. They feel safest when. And their greatest fear is. The case that changed them was. And the one person they can never forgive is. For some inspiration, check out the books and the movies, The Silence of the Lambs, as well as The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I hope this helps you with your own writing and that you like the video. If not, well, let's keep that a secret, shall we? Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post in the comments what subject matter you would like me to cover in the future. Anyway, have a great day and a great week, and I will see you in 7 days. So long, everybody. Yeah. Woohoo.